take off your uniform? Are you afraid of police?
I have a question for you. You're white and you're telling this to two black police officers.
Yeah.
Do you see the problem with that a little bit?
No, I don't, because you know what? Just because I'm white and I haven't experienced racism myself doesn't mean I can't fight for justice. They're a part of the system. They're a part of the problem. Just because they're black doesn't mean they're not a part of the problem.
Gotcha.
I'm allowed to say this to whoever. Because I'm white, racism is a white person's problem.
Yep.
Racism is my problem. I need to fix it. That's why I'm here talking to all of them. Black, white, fucking brown, purple.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Okay, hey, it's Walter from iWalter. I'm getting a late start. It's actually November, wow. It is July 5th, and by the time I'm done this, it'll be July 6th. It'll be Monday. Quite honestly, I'm experimenting because I have not done a podcast in over 2 weeks, and I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to actually touch upon, and I just couldn't get the energy to do so. And now, this past weekend, I had off for 4 days, and this is the end of my time off. I actually, expected to get a little bit more done than I did, but I was actually working on my computer. I revamped this Alienware Aurora 9 computer from Dell. Alienware is its own company, but they got bought out by Dell. It's actually a good computer, but I revamped so much I actually downgraded a video card because I don't need this video card as my system. It was like a $750 video card that came with the system. So I'm going to sell it to a friend for $500. So I'm taking a loss, but I got a card that's, for what I do, is just as good. And it was only $100. Yeah, because I really, actually, by the way, on the intro of the show, I was trying to take a piece from Sean Hannity's show. Actually, I was listening to the live Sean Hannity, not realizing that, the best of Sean Hannity. They're going to play the clip again that I wanted to actually use for my intro. So I try to look for it. That's why I'm getting such a late start. And after yay long, it was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm giving up on this. This is not getting me anywhere. So I ended up finding this other clip because I remember about 2 weeks ago, it was like during the week, I was listening to Rush Limbaugh, and he was talking about, who is behind this Black Lives Matter situation, and it's a bunch of young white females, that are college graduates that are, the stereotypical Karen, prototype or whatever you want to call it. So I had to look up what Karen meant too. So yeah, there was two things I sent him for a friend because, like, you know what, I've been complaining about this on my podcast and complaining about it here and there with people, and it just falls on deaf ears. Like, basically, I have no clue what I'm talking about. That's what it feels like. So then it was like, okay, well, let's see. Rush Limbaugh talked about it. Let's see when that date was. It was June 24th. So yeah, it's been a while. And I was like, wow, I should do a podcast on this and actually play him saying what I've been saying all along. And unfortunately, you know what, I just don't have the energy. And plus, I don't know what this is going to sound like because I replaced, it's called an M2 drive. It's the newest type of hard drive. And it can fit in the palm of your hand. And it's just as big as it's just as much hard drive space as a regular hard drive, but a regular hard drive is really big and really heavy and very hot. So these new drives, I got a 1 terabyte, replaced my 512 in the system that I bought, and then I did some other maneuvering on software, and that's kind of why I'm so far behind. Anyway, Rush had on his show on the 24th, it was titled Angry White Millennial Women Yell at Black Police Officer. So that was the part you heard in the beginning. So there's not much more to say about that. But Rush actually goes into detail on many of the same things I've been touching upon for a very long time. That this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and my friend Matt actually brought this up to my attention, not only is it just white millennial men and women, it's mainly women, though, who are so triggered, but they are pretty much the most racist people who are saying nasty things about black people, but yet that's who they're protesting for. Oh, I'm going to protest for black people, but then I'm going to derail them and degrade them and call them very offensive terms. So, okay, that makes absolutely no sense. There was another one, because Rush talked about it again in the past that same week. It was a couple days later. He talks about these liberal women, and it's titled "Woke White Liberals Think African Americans Are Helpless." So that went into another discussion on the same topic once again, but in a different perspective. So you can find this stuff, because I actually just found it now myself. I'm not going to read it, because that's the thing I really don't try. I try not to do when I don't have to, is read stories, because I do a really bad job. I'm not going to lie about it. I do an awful job. This podcast can either be very long or probably even very short, depending on how you look at it. I don't know yet, honestly. It depends how far I can go. It could be like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, which would be most preferable by most people. When I hear my voice, they just get annoyed. Or it could be like a normal 1 hour show. Again, if I would read this stuff, you would have a whole show. But I really don't want to. I'll be quite honest with you. But yeah, the Sean Hannity thing, it was kind of funny. Yeah, it was a live broadcast, and they don't really specify what particular podcast or, recap of the best of Sean Hannity they were actually playing. I was fortunate enough today they were just playing the same one over and over again, but again, they don't tell you what day that was from, or, because it was a best of when he was off, I assumed, but apparently not. Because a lot of the talk show hosts I listen to are off for a couple days. Again, I just looked up, because I don't have a subscription any longer. I haven't had one for at least 3 or 4 years. At least 3 years to Rush Limbaugh. Not that I don't like him. I still listen to Rush, but I also listen to other talk show hosts. So I decided to, hey, I can just get iHeart. That's free. They have all his podcasts and everybody else's that I listen to, and I'm not paying any money for it. So otherwise, you can pay a lot of money for this stuff. Like I also, at my old job I was working at, I was listening on the way home to recaps of Bill O'Reilly. And I was like, well, this is great. But that ended up being $50 for Bill O'Reilly, $50 or $60 for Rush Limbaugh. So after a while, it's like, you know what? Hey, if I can get this stuff and do it for free, I'm going to stop paying for it, because it's just a waste of money in the sense I don't have it. So that's why I stopped. Again, I hope this sounds okay. I don't know, because I forewarned my friend Matt. I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to do a podcast tonight, but this is after I revamped everything on this computer. Could sound great, could sound awful, or it could sound like I'm drowning underwater like it has before. I don't know. So I'm just, I just gave him a forewarning. Yeah, I just get amused by these people who are so triggered. And the one thing I had spoken to my friend Matt yesterday. He had to take me out. Matt, thank you for taking me out and show me some fireworks that he had bought. I do appreciate that. It was nice. And we met up with another friend, Ed Rick. He's a drum teacher. Matt's a music teacher of everything almost. But I was asking Matt about, and that's why I'm titling, let's see where I put it, my show, Woke on Me. That's the title of my episode tonight. And it's referring to the Karens of the world, because there's a lot of that stuff outside with these people who are, young millennial women, college graduates who are so brainwashed and so triggered that it's just out of control. That thing from Sean Hannity, though, was a reporter asking a woman a question that's at one of these riots, and she just, for no reason at all, is screaming like bloody murder. She's screaming so loud, I mean, I thought her tonsils were gonna explode. And she was screaming, "Where are the police? This guy is harassing. He's hit, attacking me." The guy wasn't doing that. It was a reporter asking her a question. So it is. I mean, the scream just goes through you like blood curdling. I mean, it's horrible. And the woman, I mean, back, I was going to even say to Matt, and I can't find that clip. I looked everywhere and I can't find it. I'm sure it's out there. I just don't know what the title of it is or who the reporter was. But let's put it this way. Back 30 years ago when I was in college and stuff, and I was taken up, was called Human Services, study to be a mental health technician. And she would have done back then what she, recently did in the past week or whatever it was. I could bet you 100% she would be subpoenaed under a 302 and put into a mental state hospital. But nowadays, that's the norm. That's how far we have, that we have came from back 30 years ago when I was in college, or 20 years ago when I was in college. I would say more like 20. Because it depends. I graduated from one college in 97, and the other college I graduated in 2001. So one you're talking about 20, and the other one you're talking a few years more. So I'm off on both, I guess. Anyway, I had to look up, because I asked two of my friends, both of you guys got back to me, okay, what is a Karen? Well, it says Karen is a projective slang term for an obnoxious, angry, entitled, and often, this is why I don't read things out loud, racist, middle-aged white woman who uses her privilege to get her way or police other people's behaviors. So here we go. And it's actually not middle age. It's millennial age. It's like 20s and 30s. Girls getting out of college, girls who are very successful, women who act like children or girls. But that is what a Karen is. That's what you call a Karen. As featured in memes, Karen is generally stereotyped as having a blonde bob haircut, asking to speak to retail and restaurant managers to voice complaints or make demands, and being anti-vax Generation X soccer mom. In 2020, Karen spread as a label used to call out white women who were captured in viral videos engaging what are widely seen as racist acts. These are the same people, by the way. These are the same exact people I will see on my street corner or elsewhere, from basically head to toe in tattoos as well, wearing workout outfits, meaning spandex, who are triggered of you even saying, like, what are you doing? You're, not even making a big commotion out of it. I should use that picture because that one woman screaming in the beginning of my podcast was dressed exactly like that. And she was attacking people. And like I said, my friend Matt, Matt, I am glad you brought this to my attention because I did not know this, that these protesters, these Antifa people, the Karens of the world are the most not only rude and lewd people, they are the most racist people. They are the ones using the N-word and stuff. But yet, we are trying to protect people of color. Really? Because if that's true, you really pulled the wool over my eyes because that's not what I'm seeing in front of me. So, yeah. By the way, I was trying to throw up stories to read tonight. And I saw this one right away, and it was on local Philadelphia news because, I'm from Pennsylvania. It's a 15-year-old shot in the head, found face down, and that was in Philadelphia today because it's still Sunday my time. Shooting Sunday night in city of Overbrook section. So it's not like a week old. By the time I put this podcast up, it's going to be a few hours old. It says a 15-year-old boy is the latest victim tonight in gun violence that continues in Philadelphia. It happened around 8 o'clock. Right now, my time, it's going on 11. The child was rushed to Lankenau Hospital, listed extremely critical condition, but obviously he's dead. In addition to this victim, 2 more shootings in Philadelphia. A 35-year-old man shot in the chest and a 36-year-old in the backside showed up at the same hospital. So, I don't know. I don't know what to say at this point because we were talking about this. On 4th of July, there was a young kid, I think 7 years old or something, a little girl got shot in the head in her house. So when is this nonsense going to stop? Probably not because thanks to... Oh, sorry about that. Let me see if I can stop. Apologize about that. Because I'm pulling these stories up. I wanted to do it differently. Another Philadelphia news story was from tonight. You will hear this stuff again because, again, normally I put these stories up and then I just go through them and knock them out. Well, tonight I'm not doing that. I'm just going to pull them up as I go along. But let me continue. Philadelphia, again, 6-year-old boy dies after suffering gunshot wounds to the chest. That was today also, and that was this afternoon. And it sits 4600 block of Kendrick Street, Upper Holmesburg, around 1:15 this afternoon. So, yeah, there you go. And another story like that, some kid getting shot. And I'm just giving you a forewarning because you might hear some extra noise in the background just because of that. Yeah, that was a 6-year-old, by the way. That was a different story. So that's another one. And these are all in Philadelphia. Violent Sunday in Philadelphia continues with man killed in Kensington double shooting. So here, get ready for this because it might be background thing, I'm sure. So I apologize. It's going to continue again because I am testing the grounds. Let's see. It was a violent 4th of July weekend in Philadelphia. Well, it's not really over yet, with police racing to several different shooting scenes in what has been a tragic 24 hours. At least 20 people have been shot, with 5 dead in just 6-hour span Sunday, according to the homicide detectives. So wait a minute. This wasn't yesterday my time. That was today my time. And 2 men hospitalized in stable condition. That happened on Sunday. So when they say Sunday, 4th of July, they do mean, as I am recording this, as of today. It goes on to the 6-year-old and other things too. But yeah, so in all, just on Sunday, there has been at least 20 people shot. Does anybody see a problem in that, or is it just probably me? I would assume, I'll say it's probably just me, and probably Matt too. Because I don't trust people for having an IQ above 60 at this point. I can't even give you the borderline retarded IQ for people out there because, in general, not saying anybody who listens to me, but I'm just saying in general because people are just stupid. Did you see, again, I'm going to pull up this story, so I'm just letting you know. Christopher Columbus statue tumbled in Baltimore, thrown in harbor. So get ready for the background noise, and it's happening now. Okay, I stopped it right away, almost. Video recorded by Louis Krause. The Baltimore Brew shows a group of people pulling a statue down, dumping it into the water. Now, you know what? I have to agree with Matt on this one. Not that I don't. Sorry about that. It just resurfaced. Sorry about that. It's going to be doing this the whole time, so I'm just letting you know. And I really apologize. I wish I could just stop these damn background things. Let me see if I can just turn down my volume without, affecting me. Maybe that'll work. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, it's still recording. I just turned down. I should have done this before. So Matt's saying, like, I've said this for a long time, Matt, but I've said this for a very long time. These people are recording all this nonsense, but none of them are reporting any of this stuff. So, yeah, that is a big pet peeve. I mean, you're recording somebody get shot. You're recording somebody get harassed, beaten up, but you won't do anything because you want to get all these hits or try to get a lot of hits on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. That's wonderful. You're a moron. So I never understood that, and I never will. And I don't think, Matt, you will either, because it just makes no sense. Alrighty, I was just looking if I had anything. Maybe I think that background stuff is going to probably be good for now. Yeah, I was shocked. I told Matt yesterday, my friend Matt, that I don't think I thought I was wrong at this point, but I was saying for the longest time, I don't think to Matt, I said, I don't think college is going to start. College, high school and college and everything is going to I said, I don't think it's going to start in the fall. I think it's not going to start until 2021. And Matt said, no, they said that it's down for the semester, and I originally disagreed with it. That, no, the school, in so many words or less, I didn't think school was going to start up. But then I was starting to hear on the radio, oh, yeah, the schools will be opening in the fall, grade schools, high schools, colleges. But then I heard, at least in Jersey, that's not going to happen until 2021. So my original thought of everything staying closed was absolutely true. Things will be closed for the entire year. And you know why? Because this is a big time for the Democrats. They're giving their last hurrah of trying to destroy Trump any way they can. They tried with the sex allegations, the Russian coalitions, or whatever you call that, money scandals, and everything else under the sun. And when everything miserably failed and went up on fire, they started with the coronavirus, and that's the only thing that everyone has been on board with. is this coronavirus killing millions of people, which is not even remotely close. It's fake news. Is the coronavirus kind of serious? Yes and no. Yes, it is, but it's no different than the common virus that comes out during every year. It's a different strand of a virus, but is it as severe as what the news and the Antifa people are saying? No. And the irony is, if I may use that word, Matt, the irony is behind it. It's all right, and I heard this on a lot of talk shows. It's all right for you to protest because somehow the coronavirus knows to say, whoa, hey, I better stay back from this. These people are protesting for a good cause. So the coronavirus just goes, whoa, I better stay back. Now, if you are going to a rally for Trump, then the coronavirus says, yeah, we better get in here. Come on, boys, let's get aboard and get all these people sick and let them spread the coronavirus on everybody. That makes no sense. It's total bullshit. But you know what? There is so many Karens and brainwashed zombies out there that actually believe that's the case. So congratulations for being a complete moron and a complete idiot. So anyway, all these stories I pulled up were wonderful. And there was one from Alabama. Hey, great, that worked. Shut off the advertisements finally. And I really am glad because I can't shut this one down. That said, 8-year-old boy killed and 3 injured in shooting at a mall in Alabama. So that happened on the 4th of July. So that does scare me because what about the King of Prussia Mall? I mean, that was overcrowded by a bunch of wackos who are, you can tell by just looking at them. I mean, it's like, I think, Matt, you were talking about this yesterday. You can sense with certain people, you can smell it almost. You can sense danger is ahead of you. Well, that's what I went over to the King of Prussia Mall the other day, last weekend, I think it was. And that's how I could just sense it. It's like the hair on your arm starts to stand up and say, this is very dangerous. You need to get out of here. So I did. I walked in and I quickly walked out of the mall again as fast as I walked in because it was just like there's something around that my if I may use that term, my spidey senses were tingling and say, you got to get out of here. This is not a very good situation. And it's bad enough with that, but now this might be almost proven, even though this did not happen around here. It happened in Alabama. What is that? So that a shopping mall that a child of 8 years old was killed and 3 other people were injured during a shooting. So I would probably put more emphasis on King of Prussia Mall, stuff like that happening. I mean, because there's been some pretty dangerous situations before all this nonsense, and it definitely has gotten a lot worse. So there's not a story, but there's a picture I have on my Facebook. Because again, I told you, I'm just testing the waters and making sure this is working. And it's a picture, and it says it's a bunch of mob people. They're all black. Black mob in Sanford, Florida. And it says, and it shows a picture of 8 black people, men and women. And it says underneath, attacks and beats up white couple, mother and sister. So where is the national media? And the girl they had beaten up was 6 months pregnant when she was attacked. So it was a mother and sister who were attacked by 8 black people and beaten up. And the one was a 6 month pregnant woman. So I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you can kind of fill me in. And I hope this sounds pretty good, so I can start having guests again. Alrighty. Here is a story. Again, I told Matt I don't retain this information. I have a very difficult time, honestly, retaining anything. So that being said, as my father would say, my father's birthday was on Friday, so he just turned 82, I believe. Not important, I know. Well, 83 actually, because he was born in 38. No, 82. But it was from lawenforcementtoday.com. It was a story I posted. Man shot 7-year-old girl in the head, murdering her 3 hours after his release from jail. That happened in Forest City, North Carolina. So this man, a black man, shot a 7-year-old girl in the head 3 hours after being released from jail. Need I say more? And I have a picture of the girl. She's a very cute little kid. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Hey, I had a story, actually, folks, on my favorite guy. I love the dude, Alan West, because I have not heard from him in a long time. And it was on CNS News website. Alan West, BLM, Black Lives Matter, is all about the rule of the mob. It cannot be allowed to exist. I'm telling you, I love Alan West. And I really wish he would run for something, other than what he does now. Like, meaning, like, even as a vice president or a president. Not that he would get elected, because he is he's a black man who is conservative, very smart. And yeah, again, I would love to see the man run for some like office position. Not that it would ever happen. I'm just telling you, it's my thing. Anyway, it says, I said I'm not going to read anything, and I'm breaking my rule, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. Again, it's on CNS News website. Black Lives Matter is an organization that is supporting the undermining of our constitutional republic, and as such cannot be allowed to exist. In a law-abiding society, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant, what do you call it, Colonel? Is that Colonel? I'm really bad with words. And Media Research Center Senior Fellow Alan West said Monday, in an interview discussing his latest commentary, A Black Man's Letter to Black Lives Matter on the Ingram angle, West called it revealing that the Democrats refuse to denounce Black Lives Matter since it is dedicated to the rule of the mob, not the rule of law. And he goes on and he says much more. It's not much more, but I'd rather not read it. So he's basically saying, yeah, the whole thing with Black Lives Matter is more of black mobs matter, or that the mobs rule. And the mobs aren't really black. They're white. And they are Karens. They are young 20-some, 30-some-year-old women who are in charge of these mobs, as I mentioned before. I'm not going to go any further because I really screwed up that story. Let's see. Oh, I had something I mentioned to Matt. Let's see. This is from a website that is hyphened to DISRN, so I don't know what that stands for. 14 killed, 59 shot during another horrific weekend of violence in Chicago. That was on June 29th. So you are going back about a week. Not less than a week. A couple days. Less than a week. Another deadly weekend in Chicago saw 59 people shot and 14 murdered, including 1-year-old boy and 10-year-old girl who who were killed in separate incidents. And this is in Chicago. Now, why am I bringing all this up? I mean, it's old news to everybody until, unless you're, what I told Matt. Which I told Matt, I hear about, there was more murders today in Chicago. And it was like, isn't Chicago where the spokeswoman for Aunt Jemima came out of? And yes, she was. So that woman who was, I can't remember her name. I do need to look this up. Let's see if I can find my history, because that was earlier today. She was a slave, and she became the spokesmodel for Aunt Jemima. I am actually trying to look for it right now. I probably can't, because there is so much other stuff I pulled up. So, and she actually started things to help black people. This former slave, real slave, not, oh, I was a slave. No, you weren't. But a real slave who, I forget her name. That's what I'm trying to actually look for right now. I'm going to see if I can find it elsewise. So give me a moment and bear with me, because I am all over the place. I am very disheveled right now. I'm not going to lie. I probably don't have it up on. But yeah, the woman who was the spokesmodel for Aunt Jemima was, again, former slave. And I just wonder if she was alive today, what she must be what she would think of this nonsense going on now. Like, her hard work has basically all disappeared. Everything she's done for Chicago. Yeah, I apologize. I will find her name before the end of the show. Oh, Nancy Green. There we go. Yeah. Nancy Green was a woman who was, again, she was a former slave, and when she was freed as a slave, who is it that, I'm going to put Nancy Green in. Unfortunately, like the good stories all but disappeared now, because now it's like, oh yeah, see, this is what Black Lives Matter stands for. It's like, no, it actually stands for something else, and it is an insult to Nancy Green. Yeah, I'm trying to find something. She was the face, they said, on the Aunt Jemima. Yeah, and initially created the pancake brand and later became one of America's first black millionaires. But it was by Quaker Oats. That's what I was actually looking for. I didn't realize Quaker Oats is basically a division of Pepsi Cola. I did not know that. But yeah, she had taken her riches. I read one article that she lived, after she was freed, she lived in a shed, a shed cabin or something with, Nancy Green, a 59-year-old servant for a Chicago judge, fit the bill, born on a slave plantation in Montgomery County, Kentucky. Green had a lively personality and cooking skills Davis sought. She didn't actually make the pancakes or the syrup. She didn't invent that. They just used her because she fit the bill on what they were looking for. She debuted it at the World's Columbian Exposition of 1893 in Chicago, and then she ended up living there. But she was definitely a very inspirational figure, and, she is a person who was not only a person from rags to riches, but came from being a slave, becoming free, and then becoming a spokesmodel, for Aunt Jemima. There was two women who actually played the part as the role model, the person on the picture of the box or the bottle, whatever you want to call it. She was the first one. She was the original one. Now, I remember this afternoon, I tried to look for some stuff that was less depressing on Nancy Green, and I could not find anything, because anything that was saying how she was inspirational, how she started, I'm trying to think, some more uplifting things in Chicago, you won't find any of that stuff any longer, because now the whole thing is, oh, she was a poor, victimized black woman. No, she wasn't. She was actually a very influential and inspirational woman who probably, in my opinion, has to be rolling in her grave. If she knew what was going on now, she would be definitely rolling in her grave. Alrighty, I said enough. I actually have 40 minutes, which isn't too bad. You know what? My friend Matt asked me, do you know about this story where a woman lost her job and now is unemployed because she would say, if I hear another white person complain about, all lives matter, she says, I'll just stab them and laugh about it. Well, Matt thought she was white. She's actually Latina, I guess. Latino. Yeah, so I found the story. I told Matt I didn't know anything about it, and here I have it. I have it on my Facebook page, and he laughed when I said, "Yeah, Matt, I actually did know about it. I didn't realize I had it as a reminder for myself." So the stab anyone who says all lives matter gal is now unemployed. #LOL. The Harvard University graduate who threatened to stab anyone who uttered the phrase all lives matter is now looking for a job. Clara, I'm not going to even pretend I know how to pronounce her last name, made national news when she declared her allegiance to the Black Lives Matter movement. So she is another Karen, in my opinion. And the funny thing was, because I know Matt kind of filled me in on the rest of this, when she got fired, she didn't take the responsibility, well, boy, I got a big mouth and I'm a complete moron. But instead, she blamed Trump for her getting fired, like it was not her fault. So that was very entertaining. Yeah, and her slang, in quotations. I'm a stab you. What do you call it? Where was that again? Harvard University graduate is using, it's in quotations, spelled I-M-A. That's a real intelligent graduate. Wow, more of a moron. The Connecticut native said in the video posted in TikTok, I'm a stab you. That's the way she said her words. I'm a stab you. I'm a stab you. Wow, I tell you, that's a Harvard graduate who uses poor grammar, because in the video, because there's a quote of exactly what she said. I'm a stab you. I don't think that's good grammar. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. And while you're struggling, yeah, look who's talking now, and bleeding out, I'm a show you my paper cut and say my cut matters too. So either it was the person who wrote down her quotation is wrong, but I would believe it's basically her. I could play the audio, but I did turn down the volume, and I don't even quite know if it's worth trying to do this. I mean, maybe I can. It's only 17 seconds. So I just don't want to ruin my show. I'm stab you. Yeah. Oh, God, I really have to hear this. So I'm going to turn up my volume and see if this works. It should play over, right? I'm going to see if the folks at home can hear what I'm going to hear. You probably heard that thing with my computer. Let's see. Because I forgot. Everything is going through from the computer onto this. Let's see what happens. If it's dead space, then I apologize.
Next person who has the sheer nerve, the sheer entitled caucasity to say all lives matter, I'm gonna stab you. I'm gonna stab you. And while you're struggling and bleeding out, I'm gonna show you my paper cut and say, my cut matters too.
All right, I apologize. That is dead space. No, it did not go through. I didn't realize anything that comes through on the computer does not go on the recording. I could probably try to fit that in. You know what? I'm going to try to do that. Copy video and then try to just fit that in. So it won't be a dead space like her head. I might kind of cut this short tonight, folks, if I can. Basically, because I don't know how this is going to sound. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what this is going to sound like. So, yeah, that's classic. Again, I thank Matt for bringing that to my attention. Not realizing that I actually did have that on my list of stories that I would have read. Yeah, because the rest is like kind of the same. On a lighter note, because I'll try to end this early tonight. I'm going to try to end this to see how I sound, see if it sounds like total garbage, like the normal way. I think this is probably fake news, but it's just entertaining. I gotta kind of push it forward. And I might even just let it go at this, so I can watch some movies or TV shows or whatever other nonsense is going on in my life. There's a website called Dread Central, and it says Kevin Bacon up for replacing Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Well, it's kind of funny because in a way that the original Friday the 13th, not Nightmare on Elm Street, the original Friday the 13th, now I'm talking about two different things now. I understand. One of Jason's victims was Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon was in Jersey because he's originally from Philadelphia. In the original Friday the 13th, and he gets his throat slashed by mom. By Jason's mom. And so he's the first victim. Now, the entertaining thing was they did do a Freddy versus Jason. So it's kind of funny that Kevin Bacon was on, what do you call it? He was originally on the receiving end, and now he's going to be one of these out of the three well-known monster-type villains or creatures of today, which would be Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and believe it or not, Chainsaw from Texas Chainsaw. I don't know. I just think it's entertaining. So would you like to see Kevin Bacon take over as Freddy? Let us know in the comments below over Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. In Wes Craven's classic slasher film, several Midwestern teenagers fall prey to Freddy Krueger, which was Robert Englund, a disfigured midnight mangler who preyed on teenagers in their dreams. By the way, I did not notice, there's a really good special on Shudder, and it's from Hell and Back or something with a documentary with him in there, though, not of who I'm mentioning, Kane Hodder. And it is really powerful. It's like 2 hours. I highly recommend watching it. Check out Shudder. Look for a Kane Hodder special. It's on a newer list of stuff on Shudder. It is incredible. It is really tear-jerking. But anyway, to get to the point, going back to Freddy Krueger, Kane Hodder was actually offered the part because of the burned up character of Freddy Krueger for that reason. Because Kane Hodder really was burned quite tremendously over about 90% of his body because he was going for a photo shoot and he went a little too far with the photo shoot. And he ended up getting really severely burned over 3/4 of his body. So, and he was really kind of curious and anxious to do the character, but that was before they decided to go with a more like seasoned or a more, at that point, professional actor, because at this point, Kane Hodder has acted in quite a few movies. But originally, it was supposed to be, they did ask Kane Hodder, and they, last minute, they backed out. One thing, by the way, that pissed him off, Kane Hodder, which I didn't know that either, when they did do the Freddy versus Jason movie, they had asked him, hey, would you be interested in doing the film? And, or, you know, would you be up for it or whatever? Something on that line. And then at the last minute, they decided on a different actor, stuntman, to play Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees. And out of all of the people who played the character, quite honestly, and I mean, I agree with this, Kane Hodder was the best because he actually added the movement of the character in there, like kind of jerking his head, not just being a still type of zombie corpse that just ruthlessly killed people. He actually added life to the character, which myself and other people really kind of like think of Kane Hodder as the only Jason Voorhees, even though there was many other people who played the part. But yeah, the whole thing with Kevin Bacon would be pretty cool. This is Walter from iWalter. I'm going to sign off for now. Hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully it sounds okay too. Have a good one, and I don't know when I'll be back. I'm just going to let you know now.